Let's talk now to Gareth Dennis, who's an engineer and writer who specialises in transport systems and is going to talk to us about HS2. Let's just pick up on that point that was just put to the Prime Minister. COVID, the coronavirus crisis, has shown that a lot of people quite enjoy working from home. Maybe, people won't want to use railways as much as they have done in the past. Although the Prime Minister there insisting, mass transit is very much here to stay in this country.
Yeah, so I mean, not everyone's had a brilliant time working from home. It's worked for some and not others. Myself, it's not been particularly great for my mental health, so it's not a perfectly rosy picture. But if we step back from that and look at the bigger picture, actually only about 1 in 4 people can actually work from home at all anyway. Their jobs actually allow them to do that. So, lots of people require to be somewhere to do their jobs. Before COVID, only about 5% of people work from home. So even if that doubles after this crisis, you're going to be looking at only about 10% of people actually working from home. And those people are generally in higher income brackets, generally men, generally from kind of privileged background, sort of more privileged backgrounds. So it's something we have to think about, really. It's not, the working from home it's not a radical change to our society as some people might picture. Okay. The other point, of course, is that we have to think beyond that, is that HS2 is a piece of infrastructure that is going to be here for a century or 2 centuries. The mega trend very much remains climate change, and the important thing that we need to do is be moving things, moving the fact that people move by road. 88% of people and things move by road. We need to be moving those towards sustainable modes like rail.
And the Prime Minister there saying it's an incredible project, but plenty of people would disagree. They'd say it's vastly, the costs are vastly inflated. They've gone up and up. They've spiraled and spiraled. The delays have been remarkable, and in the end, it's a waste of time and money.
Yeah, so for starters, civil engineering projects, I'm a railway engineer, civil engineering projects generally, they're generally off to a rocky start in the UK. We have a bit of a strained relationship with big infrastructure, as I'm sure people in London looking at the Crossrail delays kind of stacking up will attest to. But the most important thing is, firstly, it's actually really important that we split out the idea that there's some impact on taxpayers from the borrowing to build HS2. Totally separate things. Capital projects come from borrowing against future returns. As national finances don't work like household finances. We're not losing money when we invest in HS2. That we can continue to borrow more. So there's a justification for borrowing more than just for HS2, growing our ability to move people and things around with reduced carbon emissions. So the cost question really is a bit of a red herring. Actually, we need to be investing far more of our GDP in sustainable transport projects, not just major projects like HS2, but also in sort of city, urban redevelopment projects, new metro lines in Leeds, Bristol, as well as Manchester and Birmingham.
You said at the beginning, we need HS2 to help save the planet for reasons of the environment. But a lot of people would say, actually, it's destroying the environment. It's destroying, villages, lovely swathes of countryside.
Yeah, those people generally are doing their very best to paint HS2 as some sort of destructive monster. But actually, the reality is very, very different. On carbon emissions, for example, the entire carbon emissions from both the construction and the operation of HS2 are equivalent to about 1 month of road transport emissions in the UK. The really important thing that gets lost is that HS2 themselves and government have done an absolutely appalling job, a dreadful job of explaining what HS2 is for. The most important thing that HS2 achieves, the main benefits, are not actually on HS2 at all. They're on the existing railway network. So, when you stand in smaller stations, like Hemel Hempstead or some of the stations in and around Birmingham, at rush hour, you maybe have 2 trains, and maybe 15 trains whiz through without stopping because they're on their way rushing towards London or up towards Manchester and Leeds. The challenge with that, the point of HS2 is to move those trains onto their own dedicated lines so that the existing railway network can run much more efficiently. So you can run lots more trains, which means that you get many more local, commuter, and indeed regional services, plus the ability to transfer a lot of freight off our roads onto the railway. So HS2 has been very poorly explained. And as a result of that, you've got this build-up, this environmental opposition, which really comes from a position of not understanding what the project is for and how important it is to reduce our overall transport emissions.
Well, thank you for giving us your explanation of HS2. Very good to talk to you, Gareth Dennis there, an engineer and writer.